Jimmy, good evening, good afternoon for you, and good evening for us. Thank you for joining CryptoClan.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun doing these shows.
Always nice, thank you. We would like to discuss with you regarding Bitcoin and the exciting year that's in front of us, and also the exciting year that's in front of you. So we have had quite a rough start in 2019. What do you thoughts so far?
I mean, it's a bear market, and we all knew this was coming during the bull run, that it would become a bear market at some point. We just didn't know exactly when it would happen, and it kind of happened all of a sudden, starting in 2018, and it kept going down and down and down. And we're getting towards the bottom. I don't think we've actually hit bottom yet. But this is part of what we call business cycles. And we had a lot of hype and a lot of malinvestment during the time of the boom. And what we're having right now is some of those businesses going away. They need to go bankrupt. They need to, not take as many resources as they've been. So that's more or less what's been happening.
So in some sort of a way, you think it's a good thing what's happening now?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime there's a bear market, it means that the economy is sort of being cleansed, right? Like if you only like just sit on the couch and like just enjoy TV or something like that, you're not really growing. Sometimes like the tough times are when you grow the most, and I believe that to be true of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Certainly, when you have bear markets is when a lot of innovation happens, when a lot of good ideas come forward and things like that.
All right, that's clear. You say you don't think we have seen the bottom yet. And do you have any idea if we will see it in short time, or at what level roundabout that bottom would be?
I see. I wish I knew, but this is one of the things that's really difficult to predict, because it is a market economy, and when we say market economy, what we really mean is all of the individuals that are in the market and what they're thinking and how they're thinking, and it's this like n-dimensional game theory thing, which is very hard to figure out because everyone has like different motivations and so on. So, for some people, like, they want to get in on the bottom, so there will be people coming in as it gets lower. For other people, it's, they panic and think, oh, okay, well, like Bitcoin hasn't done anything in a while, so I'm going to get out. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I will say though that I'm like the next few months we'll probably see something happen, but whether that's bottom or not, I don't know. I mean, if you want to know about like technical trading and sort of good rules of thumb and heuristics that traders have developed, go watch one of those shows, and I'm sure you can learn more. But I'm a developer. I I look at the technical aspect, not the trading or candles or wicks or dojis or whatever. That's not my thing. So yeah. It's really the wrong person to ask.
Well, all right, that's a very clear statement to take. Thank you. What do you think as a programmer about the future of Bitcoin?
I think it's going great. The fact that it's stayed stable for so long is a big property that I think a lot of people have been looking for. Yeah, it's lasted more than 10 years. So the security, the store part of the store of value has shown itself over 10 years, right? Like you had one Bitcoin back in 2010, you still have one Bitcoin now, and that's a very good thing. That ability for Bitcoin to stay that stable and not have weird incentives go into it or have all sorts of things change through hard forks or things like that. The fact that it hasn't done that is a very good thing. And for me, that stability is what gives people confidence to continue using it as a store of value. That's certainly why I do. I expect it to be, at least similar in many ways over the next 10 years and so on, and not change things too much. the innovations that are coming tend to be on top of Bitcoin on what we call layer 2, stuff like Lightning Network and side chains and things like that. So those things are all really exciting, and they are needed in the future for more method of payment use cases and things like that. But for now, I'm very happy with where it is, and in a technical sense, from a developer perspective, it's very stable. It's very, the code's gotten better. The review processes are really good. Where there's innovation going on in a way that's still backwards compatible. So it's really, really good.
Well, that sounds all very promising. Last year we have seen an awful lot of discussion regarding Bitcoin Cash. One of the people behind that, Mr. Craig Wright, also said in the aftermath that he knows about some sort of fatal programming issue in Bitcoin, which he will review later this year, and which will allow him to take over or destroy Bitcoin whatever he wants. Well, have you heard about that statement?
It doesn't surprise me, but consider the source. I mean, the guy's completely wacko. He has zero credibility, and I don't understand why anyone listens to him at all. He says outlandish things so that people repeat it and say things about it. This is his way of getting attention, staying relevant, or whatever. I don't pay attention to him. I don't discount anything he says. I mean, I discount pretty much everything he says. He your friend keeps saying I don't know if you were like in camp when you were younger, like there'd be that one fat kid that would be like, yeah, I have a girlfriend back home and she's like pretty much perfect, and it's like, yeah, right. Like that's kind of what Craig Wright reminds me of with this exploit. It's like, yeah, he says he has something. Yeah, why don't you prove it, right? Like it's idiotic.
Yeah, he's always putting it in front of us.
Yeah.
Well, that's something to see in 2019 whether he can come up with the proof this time, because in the past he should come up with some proof which was not that fast, so to say. 2019 will be an exciting year for you as well. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I have my book coming out. I'm in the middle of the editing process and the typesetting process and things like that, but it should come out in a couple of months, hopefully before South by Southwest, which starts on March 8th. So I will be speaking at that conference. It's a really big conference here in Austin, so very excited about that. But the book should be coming out pretty soon. It's called Programming Bitcoin. It's available for pre-order in English, at least in the US, on Amazon.com. I'm not sure for your Dutch viewers whether or not it's going to be available there.
Yes, it's available with us as well.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah, I mean, it's if you're curious about it, you can start reading it on GitHub, and it's open source. But if you want the nice O'Reilly formatting and all that stuff, you're gonna have to wait for the book. But yeah, it's a lot of technical information. I still remember back in 2013 when I got started in Bitcoin programming, that there just weren't that many resources to learn all of this stuff, and everything was really confusing because I didn't really know any of the primitives, right? Like a lot of people don't know what ECDSA is, or elliptic curve cryptography is, or going down further, like what an elliptic curve is, or even what a finite field is. All of that stuff, in order to really understand what Bitcoin's all about, what signatures are, what signature algorithms do, and how you verify those things, and what public keys are, and all that stuff. So this book is meant for developers, and it's a way to sort of take you step by step into learning all about Bitcoin and doing everything that you need to in order to really learn it from scratch. And there's a lot of coding exercises in it. And it's very much, you don't just like find, you have to actually implement it and do it in order to really understand it, is my view. So that's what I aim to do with this book, and it should be coming out in 7 weeks, something like that.
Oh, that's very nice, because you also have your own programming academy as well.
Yeah, programming blockchain. That's my 2-day course. I did hold one in Amsterdam about a year ago, actually, but I haven't done one. Well, I've done them all over the world, and it's 2 days. And the book is actually largely derived from that seminar. It's 2 days of intense instruction. You come in as like a Python coder, and you leave as a Bitcoin developer. Like you understand. You'll leave having learned a lot of how transactions work, and a lot of the math and blocks and proof of work and all that stuff. So yeah, I've taught this course like I think, oh man, it's been I think I've taught this course like 27 times, something like that. And it's been refined quite a bit. The next one that's going to be in Europe is in London, February 9th and 10th, and that'll be pretty fun. And if you are interested in getting into this space and you don't really know where to get started, or for 6 months still, like I've had lots and lots of people that were like, yeah, I tried to learn this for like the last 3 years. I didn't really, and then I took this course, and then everything just sort of fell in place for me. So this is my way of contributing to the community and make money at the same time. Those are the best kinds of businesses.
Yeah, absolutely, because making money is another part of it which should be well taken care of. Are there still seats available for your course in the 9th and the 10th of February?
Yes, there are. Come and register there.
I'm sorry, we had a slight delay. Where can we register?
You can go to programmingblockchain.com and you can apply to take the course there.
All right, that's very nice. What is for you the most exciting look forward in 2019? What are the things that you are really looking forward to regarding crypto?
I think the big thing is Lightning Network. So there's a bunch of upgrades that are scheduled for SegWit version 1. We're right now on SegWit version 0. Mm-hmm. And SegWit version 1 is sort of the next big soft fork. SegWit version 2 would be the soft fork after that, and so forth. So SegWit version 1 brings in a whole bunch of stuff, including Schnorr signatures, sig hash no input or op mask. Taproot, I think, is on its way as well. And a bunch of other improvements, but they're all going to be, it's all going to be bundled together in a single soft fork. How long that takes, I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna guess about a year or so between now and implementation, testing, review, and deployment. But once that comes along, then it'll be a lot easier for developers to develop on the Lightning Network and make that more private and so on. At which point, I expect more Lightning wallets to pop up. I'm probably going to have some sort of course on teaching Lightning eventually. But I'm really excited for how it's going to go.
I see that. Will there also be an update on safety issues? Because you see a lot of discussion regarding proof of work, because the way we are mining crypto.
Oh, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
I'm sorry. Perhaps I did missay it a bit. We see a lot going on when we talk about proof of work or other sorts of validation. It's been an ongoing fight between some hackers and criminals, and to keep the blockchain safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I see proof of work as the most efficient way to blockchain and make it decentralized and scarce. Proof of stake is nothing more than signatures, and if you look at your dollar bill or your euro note, it has a bunch of signatures. That's more or less what proof of stake is. It's making it fiat again. It's signed by a few people. Who cares, right? Like that's the centralized authority at that point. So proof of stake is to me completely useless. It's not interesting at all. It's not decentralized. Whereas proof of work actually is decentralized, because it's a lot like gold mining in the sense that anyone can search for it. And if you can figure out a way to search for it more efficiently, then you can make a lot of money. But there's no permission involved. There's no, like I have to get the approval of this person or that person or anything like that. That's at a deep level. That's what makes Bitcoin really interesting, is that it's ultimately decentralized. All of these other things, they have a central creator or development team or foundation or ICO token issuer or whatever, those are all centralized things. They're not interesting to me in the least, because they, if you have one person in charge, how's that different than fiat? So for me, Bitcoin is the only one that's really interesting, and that's talk about proof of work changes or things like that aren't. They seem like they're defeating the purpose. You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
All right. Well, that's a clear statement. To look forward to your book and to see what programming skills are needed to keep Bitcoin up. Do you have any special announcement for the Dutch crypto clan?
Well, I mean, I find it really interesting that, at least when I visited Holland, I've visited a few times now, but each time I'm always struck by how sort of contrarian the entire country is, and I've noticed that a lot of developers are from Holland, and including Vladimir van der Laan, right? Like he's a Dutch guy, he's a core maintainer and things like that. My gut feeling is that Holland the people of your country will adopt this probably faster than others, and I see. I see that I see this community as sort of like the early movers. So I do pay attention to what's going on. I did notice, for example, that there was like a Dutch Bitcoin meetup group that split into like 3 or something like that, and like one super altcoiny, another one that's like a little more Bitcoiny, and another one that's doing something else. And lo and behold, that's pretty much what happened everywhere else, right? Like you go to every meetup in every country, but like in Amsterdam that happened first, and so I see this. I see Holland as sort of like as a precursor to everyone else. It's an early indicator. So I mean, whatever you guys are doing, like let the rest of the world know, because we like it's probably a foreshadowing of what's going to happen everywhere else.
All right. Well, that's clear. Of course, we will keep you posted if we have any news from our side. Well, Jimmy, thank you. That's very interesting. I understood you also have some sort of a surprise for anyone who is pre-ordering a copy of the book.
Yeah, so if you pre-order and you send it to me, I will sign it and send it back. Assuming you have like a stamped envelope or whatever. And I'm happy to do that, and like even take a picture and post it on my website, so people can verify that it was actually me that signed it, because my website. And I don't know, maybe I'll even put like a PGP something. I have to figure this stuff out. It's still sort of in the thing. Like we're so used to just seeing like an autograph and thinking that that's true or not, but how can you really verify it? I want to make it cryptographically verifiable, and maybe even put it on the blockchain at some point or something like that, or like in an op return something or other, and put a SHA-256. I don't know. Well, I'll figure something out. But
that's very nice.
What I would like to do.
If the people who pre-order a copy and they send us the receipt, we will make sure that we contact with you, and we can figure something out for them.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Enjoy the day.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.